Hello, I'm Clark Crawford, and welcome back to the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. We're talking Astros baseball again, of course, here on my channel, as it's baseball season. And talking Astros baseball, unfortunately, we have some not so good breaking news here on the channel that came out right before I started recording. Astros fans, you're not going to like this from Chandler Rome on Twitter, who I follow. The Astros put Justin Verlander on the IL with neck discomfort, the Astros' favorite word to use to describe an injury, and Nick Hernandez, who they recently acquired in the last month from the Padres, a relief pitcher, has been recalled. So, some not so good breaking news there. I kind of saw it coming. The writing was on the wall, as Joe Espada earlier today said Verlander was recovering slower than expected, coming off of the neck discomfort that he's apparently been dealing with for multiple weeks. Now, Chandler Rome also reports that a scenario for the Astros is the Astros could start Spencer Arrighetti on full rest on Thursday against the White Sox, or Blair Henley, who's on the 40-man roster, is scheduled to pitch for AAA on Thursday. Astros could call him up for a spot start, or his other idea is turn it into a bullpen game with Contreras and Hernandez eating the bulk of the innings, hopefully two apiece. Maybe one of them with an efficient pitch count could go 3 innings. I don't know what's going to happen, but I have another scenario, though the Astros would have to clear a 40-man roster spot for him. And this is my speculation, is one of their top prospects, A.J. Blueball, who is my idea who they should start on Thursday. They're facing the worst team in the league in the White Sox, as the Astros versus White Sox series preview is coming up, plus Astros versus Tigers series recap. My thought is let's start A.J. Blueball on Thursday, who he last pitched on June 14th, so he's scheduled to pitch here in the next couple days anyways. I believe this is their best option, as Blueball has pitched for Corpus and Sugarland so far this season. He's a 23-year-old pitcher drafted in 2022 in the 7th round by the Astros, and as I mentioned, he last pitched on June 14th. Dana Brown recently mentioned he's a name to watch, and maybe he could make a start later this year if something went wrong. And, well, unfortunately now something has gone wrong, so it's another pitching injury. And, well, the Astros have been snake bitten by injuries, specifically to the pitching staff here in 2024. So my name to watch is A.J. Blueball, if they can clear a 40-man spot to add him to the 40-man rotation. And now Clark Crawford Sports, after this breaking news, moves on to what I had scheduled for this episode. And, well, that was just my insight on who I would love to see take Verlander's place. But we move forward with your Astros versus Tigers series recap. Astros won the series against the Tigers, taking 2 out of 3 games, improving their record to 33-39 on the year. They have a 500 home record at 19-19, 19 wins and 19 losses, for those of you who don't know. Friday night's game was one of the 2 wins over the weekend, as the Astros shut out the Detroit Tigers 4-0. It was, as expected, a pitcher's matchup of Tariq Skubal and Hunter Brown. Hunter Brown outdueled one of the top Cy Young candidates in the American League to date, bringing home his 3rd win of the year. In this outing, Brown continued his month-and-a-half-long best career success of his career to 7 shutout innings while striking out 9 Tiger hitters. I really, truly believe this was Brown's best start of his young career. And hopefully, as I've been saying, and as if you watch any of my previous videos, I encourage you to watch them, to say that, well, Hunter Brown, I've had confidence in him all year. And now Hunter Brown's season ERA is down to 5.0 exactly. He's had a large hill to climb, and he's shown no signs the last month and a half of slowing down. Hunter Brown has been the Astros' best starter as of late, right behind Ronel Blanco. It's kind of been 1A, 1B, if you follow me. So Tariq Skubal, for his sake, he pitched well in this game, going 6 2/3 innings. But in the 6th inning, Skubal gave up all 4 of his runs, which the Astros won the game 4-0. And, well, he gave up all 4 of his runs in the 6th inning. Alex Bregman hit his second triple of the year, knocking in Jose Altuve. The next batter, Yordan Alvarez, hits a sac fly to bring home Bregman, making it 2-0. Later in the inning, Mauricio Dubon hits the ball into the Crawford boxes for a 2-run homer, bringing the score to 4-0, the last runs of the night, and it was Dubon's 3rd homer of the season. So the bats got going just enough there in the 6th inning, as that's all she wrote. The Astros took the game and won their 32nd game of the year at the time. Saturday was a much different outcome, as the Tigers took Friday's loss personally, as Tarek Skubel's been one of the best pitchers in the league, as I mentioned. And, well, they brought the firepower in their offense, winning the game 13-5. They really took it personally. The big news coming out of the Astros clubhouse before the game, about 10 o'clock in the morning, was Justin Verlander was scratched from Saturday's start, as the Astros used their favorite term, discomfort. And as we now know with my breaking news at the beginning of the video, Verlander's been placed on the IL. But we're talking about Saturday, so we didn't know Verlander was going to be placed on the IL. The Astros needed a starter. And with the day off on Thursday before the series, it didn't affect the starting staff as of yet, as they moved Spencer Arrighetti up with Thursday's off day, who was going to be Sunday's starter. They moved him up to pitch on normal rest. The problem was it was a blowout, as I mentioned, and it was evident from the first few pitches that Arrighetti did not have his best stuff, but you're just hoping he can grind through it and give you some innings and keep you in the ball game. Well, Arrighetti did the opposite of that. He lasted 1 1/3 innings pitched, and, well, he gave up 7 runs, and that's all she wrote from there. It was 5 hits given up and 7 earned runs. Riley Green, to his credit, finished the day 4 for 5 with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. Green knocked in 6 runs on the day, and the Astros scored a total of 5. That's about all you need to know from the Astros side of things on Saturday. But I'm going to give you a couple other things, some positives from that game. Nick Hernandez, who just got recalled, was sent down after the game because the Astros needed a fresh arm. Well, Nick Hernandez, the recently acquired from the Padres, gave them some length out of the bullpen to save the bullpen, even though they had the off day yesterday on Monday. And, of course, they didn't have to use too many relievers on Sunday as well. I'll talk about that here in a minute. Hernandez threw 3 2/3 innings while striking out 5. He was the biggest highlight of the day. The other note to mention is Chas McCormick hit his first home run of the year. The Astros are desperately hoping they can get Chas's bat going, especially with the recent struggles of Jake Myers, who had the best month of his career in the month of May. And now and now here in June, Jake Myers can't hit the broadside of a barn. I mean, the dude can barely get the ball out of the infield in the month of June, and while he's striking out way too much, just kind of going back to the old Jake Myers of he's hot for a few games, and then there's a few games where he's ice cold. I mean, it's kind of, you never know which Jake Myers you're going to get, and, well, we've gotten the bad Jake Myers here in June. The other thing I want to mention for Saturday's game is, well, hopefully for the Astros fans' sake and the Astros team, Arrighetti's not showing signs of regression. His last few starts have been okay, but what I'm most worried about is with all the pitching injuries and everything, you've got to be a little slightly cautious with Arrighetti the rest of the year. He's going to be rapidly approaching a career high in innings coming up, and my biggest input and everything is Arrighetti hitting that rookie wall, and a lot of sophomore pitchers hit it as well, is in their second year. Are they hitting that rookie or sophomore wall? So that's something that I'm going to be keeping track of, is how Arrighetti pitched. He was not good in his first couple career starts, and it seems like he was turning a corner. But now I'm starting to wonder, is Arrighetti starting to really hit that rookie wall? So just something I'm going to keep an eye on for about the next 5 starts, including this one, and see if he bounces back from getting his ass handed to him. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it because he got his ass handed to him. For the Astros, for the Sunday afternoon contest, it featured them recovering quickly from an 8-run loss, turning it into a 4-1 victory. With Verlander's injury The rotation was finagled with the rare Thursday then Monday off, allowing Houston to move Ronel Blanco, who started on Sunday, originally Tuesday starter. He would have had 2 days of extended rest, but he was moved up to Sunday to pitch on normal 4 days rest for a 5-man starting rotation. Blanco was phenomenal yet again, throwing 7 no-hit innings on 94 pitches while striking out 8. There's something that needs to be mentioned, and some people get it, some people don't. Ronel Blanco, it was the right move for Joe Espada to pull him after 94 pitches. He's rapidly, or he's already hit an innings high for his career. He was mostly a reliever in the minor leagues as he's thrown 77 and 2/3 innings in 2024, a career high. Like I mentioned, he's a converted relief pitcher who prior to last season spending some time in AAA getting extended out as a starter and in the major leagues as well last year. He had not started a game prior to that since 2019 when he made 2 starts for the Astros single-A team at the time. In this scenario, it was the right move to pull Blanco by Espada after 94 pitches because in the long run, I don't care about no-hitters. I care about the Astros winning games because no-hitters might happen 5-6 times a year throughout the MLB. Sometimes it's happened a few more times than that. But what matters at the end of the day is wins. And yeah, Blanco already threw a no-hitter earlier this year. I'm thankful he threw the no-hitter and it's a great accomplishment, but the bigger accomplishment is team wins, and of course, Ronel Blanco's win that he got in the win column on Sunday. So for anyone who disagrees, well, I'm just going to say you're wrong. The wins matter more than no-hitters. And guess what? A no-hitter is a win, and a team win is a win. It doesn't matter if you throw a no-hitter or not. You can still go out and win the game. So good decision by Joe Espada. Let's keep Ronel. Try to keep his innings down just a bit. If you can give him an extra off day or 2 here and there, give it to him, push him back a day, whatever it takes. But I think Blanco will be fine in the long run, but let's not throw his arm out too early in the season because he's been a revelation in a season that's had certainly a ton of disappointments. I know Ryan Pressly blew the no-hitter, blah, blah, blah. I don't care, but I'm looking at the positive side. Pressly gave up the 1 hit, and other than that, he retired the other 3 hitters he faced. So good job for Ryan Pressly. A nice outing there, and I'm hoping this is the Pressly we get for the rest of the year because the Astros desperately need him to pitch well. I don't envision any scenario where he's traded unless the wheels really, really fall off and they fall like 15 games out of first place in the AL West, which they currently sit 9 back as I record this video on Tuesday before Tuesday night's White Sox series begins. So moving to the rest of the game, the Astros won the game 4-1, and Jose Altuve was the highlight on the offensive side as he hits a 3-run homer off Kenta Maeda in the second inning. The Astros win 4-1. If you need a little memory refresher, do you remember the last time Jose Altuve hit a homer off of Kenta Maeda? Yes, you do, because it was in Game 5 of the 2017 World Series, the crazy extra inning game that the Astros won 13-12. Jose Altuve also hit a big home run off of Maeda coming out of relief in that game as well. So just a little fun fact memory refresher that Jose Altuve has now hit 2 career homers off of Kenta Maeda. Move along to Game 1 of the Astros versus White Sox series preview, and it's going to be the Astros at 33-39. They are now second in the AL West. If you haven't heard, they have the same record as the Texas Rangers. They have caught them, though they're still 9 back in the division, but both teams have a 33-39 record, but the Astros have the series edge 5-4 on the Rangers so far this year, so they are percentage points ahead of the Texas Rangers now. The Chicago White Sox are 19-54, the worst record in the league. They are 4.5 games behind the Miami Marlins for the worst record in the league. I don't anticipate them catching the Marlins, but hey, just a little fun facts for you. The White Sox are god-awful, and well, the Astros need to take care of business in this series. So for the pitching matchup, Framber Valdez, left-handed pitcher, 5-4, a 3.99 ERA, 67 2/3 innings pitched, 63 hits and 51 strikeouts given up. And Jonathan Cannon, who is a White Sox rookie, He's 0-1 with the 4.56 ERA in 23 and 2/3 innings pitched, 27 hits, and 24 strikeouts. So their last starts for both pitchers, Framber Valdez in his last start, well, it was on Wednesday against the Giants. Unfortunately, we got bad Framber yet again. He threw just 59 pitches, getting hit hard, once again allowing 8 hits, 5 earned runs, and 4 innings. In the 5-3 loss against the Giants, Yordan Alvarez was pretty much the only sign of offense in that game with a 2-run homer in that one. There were some borderline calls that Framber did not receive. Some of them were pretty close. Maybe he could have gotten, but nonetheless, no excuses for a veteran pitcher to implode the way he did, losing all control of the zone. This isn't the first time, and it's definitely not going to be the last time that Framber goes out there and implodes on the mound. And it's not the first, and like I said, it won't be the last it happens. That's just who Framber Valdez is in his career so far. I mean, he has some good starts and some really bad ones, and this is one of those you want to hopefully put behind you. But with Framber never knowing where his head is, I don't know how he's going to respond. Hopefully we get good Framber against the lowly Chicago White Sox beginning tonight. His rookie mound partner, coming off the best start of his young career at 23 years old, he faced the Mariners this past Wednesday, pitching 7 innings, a 1-run ball, striking out 7. It's a hell of a performance for the youngster against a weak Seattle offense. I'm intrigued to see how he performs tonight against these Astros. We'll see if the Astros can hit him, but he's done pretty decent so far in his career, and we'll see if he can continue that against probably one of the toughest lineups he's faced all year, regardless if the Astros are producing or not. They're still a tough lineup to get out. Today's probable matchup is Hunter Brown squaring off against Garrett Crochet. Hunter Brown is 3-5 with an even 5 ERA on the year and 68 1/3 innings pitched, 69 hits given up, and 76 strikeouts. Garrett Crochet in his first season starting, he's 6-5 with the 3.16 ERA, 82 2/3 innings pitched, 116 strikeouts. He's way up there in strikeouts. Last I saw, I think he was tied with Tyler Glasnow, and he's up there, and we'll see what happens there. He's probably going to get a ton of strikeouts against the Astros, who you never know if they're going to strike out 3 times or 15. That's just kind of how they've been over the years. Hunter Brown, the Astros Wednesday night starter, as I mentioned just a minute ago, he dominated the Tigers, as I mentioned earlier in the video as well. Houston desperately needs him to continue to pitch well, and a tribute to the ace-level quality pitching he's displayed since early May with Justin Verlander, as I broke the news at the beginning of the video, now on the injured list. Garrett Crochet squaring off against Hunter Brown in this pitching matchup has been brilliant for the White Sox, better than what they could have ever imagined. As for transitioning into a starter this year, a former relief pitcher like Ronel Blanco on the Astros side, he struck out 13 Mariners across 7 innings in his last start in a 3-2 win in extra innings on Thursday. As the White Sox, if I'm them, I would capitalize on Crochet's value. He's 24 years old, starting to look like a stud pitcher. He's had decent numbers as a reliever in his career so far. He's still really young, and I think if the White Sox are smart, they capitalize on his value now with the young 24-year-old left-handed now starter who has 2 more years of team control in 2025 and 2026. The White Sox will still likely be rebuilding by the time Crochet needs to garner a big payday. And the only concern I would have for a continuing team trading for him is, can he hold up for the rest of the season, continue to build his arm up, because it's hard transitioning in year 1 from a reliever to a starter. A lot of guys' arms start to fall off in the second half of the seasons or even after a month or 2. So that'll be another interesting thing to watch. I wish my Astros could trade for him, and it's certainly possible, but I give it about a 5% chance of that happening, as I think they need, if they make any moves at the deadline, make a smaller move or 2 and keep your prospect capital for at least 1 year and continue to build the farm system up. Another fun fact is the Astros, looking into it, and I saw this news yesterday, they've had 4 guys from the 2023 draft class, a credit to Dana Brown, who have now been promoted to Double-A less than a year or right at a year after being drafted, as the draft usually late June, early July. So 4 prospects from the 2023 draft have already been promoted to Double-A. Most recently, as of yesterday, Bryce Matthews, the Astros' first-round pick, was promoted to Double-A, as he did spend some time on the injured list earlier this year, but he's come back guns a-blazing and hit several home runs since coming back and earning a promotion to Double-A. He's a shortstop prospect. If you ask me, I think they should take Bryce Matthews, move him to third base, and start grooming him as the potential hopeful star third baseman of the Astros, maybe by late next season or early 2026. I think that's the best case scenario for him. I would transition him to third base with likely impending free agent Alex Bregman leaving after the 2024 season. Versus White Sox will square off in the series finale on Thursday afternoon. The Astros, of course, right now are undecided because Verlander is on the IL, and the White Sox are going to start Chris Flexen 2-6 with the 5.35 ERA, 67 in a third innings pitch, 68 hits and 51 strikeouts. Of course, like I've said, the Astros are undecided. I gave, if you missed it at the beginning of the video, go back and rewatch it. Gave you a few options to look out for to see who may or may not start that game. So with that being said, we don't know who's going to start for the Astros. Let's go through the offensive numbers. Now, for Kyle Tucker's sake, he's still on the injured list, but he leads them in homers and RBIs, 19 homers and 40 RBIs. I thought about a week or so ago in one of my previous videos he might be back for this series, but he's progressing slowly from fouling that ball off of his knee, and he has a shin contusion as he fouled multiple balls off the same spot in his lower leg/knee. It was very swollen. He was on crutches. He's still limping around a little bit, so hopefully I'm still hoping he doesn't require a rehab stint, but if he does, hopefully by the end of the week, they could get him into some rehab games at Sugarland or Corpus, and then maybe by early next week or mid next week, he can be back with the Astros. It's taken a while to progress, but you got to give him a right to have any chance at trying to get back into things. Just tread water and hopefully sweep the White Sox in this series without him, and then maybe soon after that, you can get him back. Jose Altuve is back to being the team leader in batting average with Jeremy Pena's slump, and he's in a pretty bad slump in the past 3 to 4 weeks. Jose Altuve is now hitting .299 with the .350 on-base percentage. Hopefully Altuve can continue to hold that average right around 300 or even get it up to 310 for the rest of the year. They really need his health and his bat to continue to produce the way it has during this season because, well, they've been in huge trouble, and they're going to need Altuve massively to continue to produce to try to get back into anything in either trying to grab a wild card berth or even maybe sneaking up on the Mariners and passing them up. It's more of a long shot right now, but there's still a lot of games left to play. On the White Sox side of things, a couple names to highlight. Paul DeJong, 14 homers, a .240 average, and 29 RBIs. He's their team leader in homers and batting average among qualified hitters. And Andrew Vaughn, 9 homers and 31 RBIs, a .234 average. Andrew Vaughn is probably going to be on the trade block. He is a younger player in his mid-20s. He's a left-handed hitter. Not too much about him. He could be a potential trade target for the Astros I've seen a couple places, if they decide to go get a first baseman or stick what they have. We'll see what happens there. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's a potential target. He's under control for a couple more years. And with it being the White Sox, I don't think you'd have to give up any major prospects for him. He's not the biggest name out there like Vlad Jr., Paul Goldschmidt, Pete Alonso. So he could potentially be a cheaper bargain option if the Astros decide to go that way. And, of course, the name to watch in this series, he is recently back healthy, Luis Robert. He is the White Sox best hitter, and we'll see if the Astros can shut him down because previously, I believe it was last year or the year before, Robert hit I believe it was 4 homers against the Astros in one series, so they're going to need to shut him down, as previously he's had their number in a couple of different series. So as for Chris Flexen's numbers in his previous start, Flexen started for the White Sox on Friday. He got rocked at Arizona in a 7-1 loss. He lasted 3 1/3 innings, giving up 9 hits, 6 runs, but luckily for his ERA's sake, only 4 of them were earned. Flexen is an average starter at best. The Astros have seen him before with Seattle in the previous 3 years that he pitched for them. He has a 4.99 ERA in his career. No reason the Astros, regardless of who they start on Thursday, they should win that game for them. I mean, there's no excuses not to beat the worst team in the league. At minimum, 2 out of 3. Even then, I believe they can get to Garrett Crochet enough if Hunter Brown brings his A game that they could potentially sweep this series. And for their sake, I hope they can sweep and have their season record at 36-39 headed into their toughest series of the month against the Baltimore Orioles. Now, quick check into their June record as I'm keeping tabs on it. They are 8-6 on the month, and they really should be 10-4 with the ugly loss against the Angels that they let slip away in the series finale. And then also they let the previous Monday game against the Giants slip away in extra innings as well. They should really be 10-4 this month, have 2 more wins, but you can't go back and change the past. You can only look ahead and change the future, and hopefully they start that tonight, winning tonight's game and then winning the next 2 in this series, headed against the Orioles this upcoming weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Your toughest test, as I mentioned, of the month, and probably one of your toughest tests the rest of the year, as they'll play a couple series against Baltimore. Also, last thing to note, as long as everything is good and knock on wood, no other injuries or anything happen, Joey Loperfido should be back on Friday for the Astros, as that's when he's eligible to be called back up from the minor leagues. So hopefully we'll see Joey Loperfido back with the Astros on Friday in the lineup, because the Astros are going to need his bat, especially with Kyle Tucker not being back. They could use another left-handed, not a big-time power bat, but potentially producing some RBIs in their lineup, as I'm sorry, but John Singleton is not the long-term answer at first base, and I don't even think he's the short-term answer at first base for the rest of this season. They need to find some other options, but Joey Loperfido, they've shown they like him in the outfield more, at least for this season, and we'll see if he actually does get any run upon his what should be much anticipated return sometime this weekend for the Astros. Going to wrap up the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. I gave you some immediate breaking news, some potential starters to look ahead to for Thursday's action, as the Astros rotation's been weakened a little bit with 41-year-old Justin Verlander going on the injured list. If you hadn't already heard, I gave you that breaking news. I gave you the Astros versus Tigers series recap, what to look forward to in the Astros versus White Sox series preview. Hopefully Joey Loperfido's back this weekend. Hopefully sometime next week, Kyle Tucker the same. And maybe the Astros can get on a roll as they're 8-6 this month. You've got to have a winning record this month, at least 3 to 4 to 5, 6 games over 500. As after the Orioles series, you end the month with 2 against the Rockies and 3 against the Mets. Those are 5 winnable games. Hopefully you can go at least 4-1 in those and take advantage of the soft schedule, because the schedule, it doesn't get immensely harder, but it definitely toughens up in the month of July. So that'll wrap up the latest edition of Clark Crawford Sports. I'm Clark Crawford signing off. Like my video, comment down below, you Astros fans, what you think of all of my thoughts. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see all of you in the next edition here coming up on Friday for an Astros versus Orioles series preview, and of course a recap of the White Sox series as well. See y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching.